welcome to Overthinking K-Dramas, the podcast where we analyze the K-Dramas we can't stop thinking about. We dive into the characters, relationships, themes, and all the little details we keep replaying in our heads. If you've already finished the show and you have thoughts, you're in the right place because this is for those of us who watched the drama, we loved it, and now we're going to overthink it. So, the drama we're going to overthink today is 2521. This drama, it gives us so much, right? It gives us nostalgia, friendship, love, high stakes, and a lesson on fencing that I didn't know that I needed. I learned so much about fencing. It was so lovely. I loved it. So this drama is set in 1998 during the IMF crisis in Korea. So we meet a group of young people whose lives are turned upside down by the times, like this event and the times that are happening, right? So we're going to be talking about three things. Well, I'm going to be talking about three things I'm overthinking since I've watched 2521. So the three things that we're going to overthink about 2521: the ending, because that is pretty polarizing. People have very strong feelings about the ending. The second thing is the relationship between Yu-rim and Hee-do. Love it. So fabulous. And the third thing is adult Hee-do. And we'll get into it in the end, but I'm wondering if she lost her spark a little bit, but we can talk about that later. But I think the first thing we need to get into is the ending, because I'm not going to hold y'all long about this because it's a lot. So I'm going to preface this by saying I think this drama is really great. Okay. So first, we're going to talk about the ending. I'm not going to hold you all too long because I think the ending is what everyone wants to talk about. So my thought on the ending is, ugh, it wasn't earned. And I want to say I love this drama. I think that it has so many good elements about it. The romance, the themes and the characters is so good, but the ending, oh, it just makes me angry when I think about it. Because I know some folks can accept the ending and they're like they were supposed to break up because of the title. The title implies that they break up at 25 and 21. But I think for 14 and a half episodes, we were told how amazing this couple was, how much they reinforce each other, how much they sacrifice for each other, how they yearn and wait for each other. And all of that is great until we hit the last episode and a half. And that is when we're told all of the things that made them great are the things that kind of that tear them apart. And I don't really buy that. It's not that I'm mad that they broke up. They could break up. Couples break up all day. I think that's fine. I think it's how the writer decided to break them up. Um, I maybe for me, if certain things were introduced earlier, I would have been like, okay, because they don't really get together until I think episode 13. They don't become a couple. So now we're 13 episodes of this yearning. Will they, won't they? Where is this going? And then we get a couple of episodes of them being together and then the ending kind of happens. So what frustrates me is Yi-jin loves Hee-do so much. Like, he waits for her, he worries about her, he makes life decisions based on her. He left sports because he did not want to be in the position of betraying this woman. But then to tell us that he goes into news and suddenly starts neglecting her similar to how her mother did, I don't buy it. I think he does everything to kind of block this woman from the world in a sense in the way that he could. So here's what I think happened. I think the mandate for this show was first love ends, right? And we have to break this couple up. But what I think happened was the writer wrote such an amazing, fantastical, lovely love story that the ending could not live up to it. I think it's just simple as that. Not that they broke up, because again, I'm not mad about that. They could break up all day. But I think it was how they broke up. So, and even in the end, when adult Hee-do says that she regrets, of course she regrets. I regretted. We all regretting. So, do you think ending was earned? Because I want to know. I want to think about this from all sides because I'm willing to hear the counter to this argument. But yeah, do you think this was earned? Number two, the second thing I overthink about 2521 is the friendship between Hee-do and Yu-rim. I think this is the relationship of the show. Even though we have this big, beautiful, epic romance, we all love it. I liked it. I loved it. I think the relationship between these two women is just so strong. You know, they start out as enemies. Hee-do loves Yu-rim. She's her idol. She thinks she's a great fencer. You know, they're the same age. She's chasing her, so they could be on the same fencing team. She just idolizes her so much. And then when she finally meets her, because they say don't meet your idols because you might get disappointed. She meets her, and Yurim is like, "No, I do not see for you. We are not friends. This is not, you know." And I think it's such an interesting way to start it because she starts out as a fencing prodigy, right? And then she becomes an underdog when her dad dies, right? And she kind of falls back on the fencing. She still does it and she still loves it, but she's not at the peak. And I think Hee-do does, you know, she's so courageous that she chooses fencing, right? She's choosing this to be the sport that she loves and she goes after it. And Yu-rim is very similar. I think they're both very similar, young women. You know, they both love fencing. They're both very competitive. It's just that Hito thought that they would be the best friend and also, being her rival. She's like, "I'm gonna get so good that I'm gonna be your rival." And the interesting part is that Yu-rim knows exactly who Hito is. We get the flashback of the first time they meet is I think they're maybe 8 or 9, and Hito wins, and Yu-rim is broken apart about this, but that is the catalyst. That moment made her wanna be a better fencer. So that moment, she became a gold medalist because she's like, "Listen, I have to beat this girl." But after that, Hito kind of she kind of disappears. She's not at her peak form in fencing. And this brings me to the point where I think sometimes people see things in ourselves that we don't see yet, because I think Yurim knows exactly who Hito is and what she's capable of. So when this young girl comes back in front of her, she's like, oh shit. Like this is the competition is about to come. But I think when they become friends, it's such a huge turnaround for them because these two women are meant to be friends. They love fencing so much. They're both really good at it, but they're both really good at it. They're both at the top of their game. And how loving they are to each other when they're finally become friends. So I think this is the relationship that we're watching this whole time. I think it speaks to the point that some friendships really change us and they last. And some of those friendships that change us might end. It's like, I guess when they talk about reason, season, lifetime, I think Yurim and Hito are lifetime friends. So when I'm angry about the ending between Yi-jin and Hito, I think about Yurim and Hito because I'm like, this is the relationship that we want. This is the life lasting support that we need in life. And even when they're friends, but they have to become rivals when Uram goes to play for Russia, you can just see how even though they have to be a little distant in order to compete, they're still on each other's side. They're constantly rooting for each other. So you let me know if you have a friendship like Hito and Yurin. That's why folks love this drama so much because of that friendship. So the third thing that I am overthinking about 25, 21, I think about adult Hito a lot, because the story is being told through Hito's daughter, and she's reading her diary. And this is where we're getting all the information from. And when we see the adult Hito, she just doesn't have the spark or the light that we see in young Hito. And I'm not saying that she needs to act like an 18-year-old. I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that, she has to be young and that we don't mature and we don't change. I think what's interesting is young Hito, to me, she's infectious, right? She's contagious. She inspires everyone around her. This is why Yi-jin cares about her so much, why he loves her so much, because he reminds her, uh, of being 18 and when the world is your oyster. And she also gives him a lot of optimism, right? He starts believing in life again and the promise of the future because of her. Even Yu-rim, she sees that light that Hee-do has, but later, Hee-do teaches her a bit more about vulnerability and also about being courageous. I think Hee-do is such a courageous character. She goes after what she wants, she's not gonna let people walk all over her. She fights her mother even though she's afraid of her, to get her to continue fencing. Like, she fights for herself. Even the daughter is inspired by teenage Hee-do. She goes back into ballet because of young Hee-do. She also wants to forge her own story because she's so inspired by teenage Hee-do. So I know one of the themes of this drama is that kind of passion, that kind of love only lives in your youth, right? There's a place for it. It's when you're really young. But I kind of want to push back on that because I don't think Hee-do sparkled like that because she was young. I think she also sparkled like that because she was Hee-do. That was innate to her. And I think if you're able to sparkle like that, that light doesn't go away. I just think it manifests in a different way, and I think that's why so many folks I think there's a stigma around aging, right? Like, as we age, we become less interesting or that it's hard. And I'm not saying like adulting is easy. It's very hard. Things change and having children, being responsible for our parents. Like, there's so many things that call our attention where we can't be fluttering around like that. I totally get it. But I think the adult Hito didn't have any of that light. Even when she says in the end, she regrets, ending that relationship or yeah, I think it kind of adds to my argument that her light is missing. And I wonder what could help that is if young Hito played older, if they had aged her up, if they kept the same actress to carry that throughout. Not that I think the adult Hito did a terrible job. I think she was fine, but it just makes me think, like, I think if you are able to sparkle like that, it doesn't go away. I think you can continue to sparkle in your 30s, in your 40s, in your 50s, in your 60s, however long you're here. If you have that light, it doesn't go away. What do you all think about that? About the sparkle that Hito has, the light, that optimism, that courage. Like, do you think it was innate to her, or do you think growing up, getting older kind of diminishes that light? Those are the three things that I have been overthinking about 25, 21. Love this drama. I think it's so interesting and fun. It talks so much about resilience, about adversity, and also about choosing the life that you want. Like, things happen in life, you get knocked down, you make a choice to get up, and also the people around you kind of help you do that. So I think there are some really good life lessons in this drama, but some major things that I tend to be thinking about. But you let me know. What do you think about 2521? Is it one of your favorites? Is it another drama that you go to over and over again? I watched it for the second time and it was just as fun watching it the second time, and I was just as vexed at the end when I watched it the second time, but let me know what you all. So, like and subscribe to my channel if you like what you're hearing. I love K-dramas and I hope you do too. We have a lot of dramas to talk about. There's so many to choose from. So, why don't you let me know what K-drama I should be overthinking next?